Welcome to Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Your host, V&M General Manager Kevin Jean and Iowa Ranger Pro Staffer Steve Graff will keep you up to date on what's happening on the best lakes in the Ark-La-Tex region, with a primary focus on Sam Rayburn and Toledo Bend, two guys who have fished at a high level with Pro-Am experience with ABA, BFLs, Toyota Series, and BASS Opens. Anglers with a wealth of knowledge and willing to share. So pull up a chair, kick back, and see why so many anglers watch Tackle Talk Live. Here are your hosts, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
Welcome to Tackle Talk Live. I'm your co-host, Steve Graff, along with V&M General Manager Kevin Jean. He's on this side, or I'm one side or the other. Kevin, hey, dude. There's a chill in the air, man. I'm telling you right now, I wanted to break out of top water this morning, go out there and catch a few.
I put a hoodie on this morning. I got up and took my little girl to school, and I had to throw the old V&M hoodie on as I walked out the door. It was cool. A boat ride would have been chilly this morning, but I would have liked it. I like that it's this cool, and I hope it gets a little bit cooler, but it would have been a cool boat ride this morning.
It's that time of year, Kevin. You and I both know, like kind of like that late winter, early spring, where it's starting to warm up. Well, now it's starting to cool down. You better have that pullover on in the boat with you when you take off in the mornings, and some long pants that you can maybe take off, because it does warm up into the 80s most days right now. But again, there's that cool morning run that'll kind of wake you up early. So today on Tackle Talk Live, we got a good show lined up for you today, folks. We got some really good guests I'm looking forward to having on. Been looking to have Brian on for a while, and we finally got him pinned down. And today we're going to visit with Sam Rayburn guy, Brian Branum, great guy over there, does a great job. He's going to talk about the fall fishing. And there's two big events, Kevin, coming up on Rayburn in early October, first week in October, and the second week that, hey, guys looking to fish those events. You may get some good information today.
Well, in October's full. Then you got the Open coming at the end of October. So
true.
Big month of October going on with Sam Rayburn. So that's why we're kind of jumping back into Sam Rayburn. We've been talking some other events and stuff. Sam Rayburn's really busy the month of October. So get Brian on today, kind of see how the fish have been acting this week with these weather changes, kind of see how he's been catching them, and kind of give us his thoughts on the whole month of October we have coming up with some really big tournaments on Sam Rayburn.
Yeah, and this coming weekend, you got the Keith Combs tournament, the Cast for Kids event. That's always a big event. That'll be a big turnout for that. And then the week after that, you got the Sealy Shootout. So, hey, guys, tune in today. If you call your buddies right now and get them on, because this is going to be some good information that Brian's going to share with us today on how you need to be catching them. Is that fall transition period starting to happen? Are they up the creeks? We're going to find out today right here on Tackle Talk Live. Also today, we got the results from this past weekend's BASS Central Open. We'll go over that. Interesting story connected to this event. It's public, it's out, and a lot of people questioning how it was won, and of course, I don't know, with the Red River, sometimes there just seems to always be some controversy, Kevin.
It is. And I'm not picking a side. I'm not going there. It did not affect me in any way.
Right.
No rules, no written rules were broken.
Right.
So, hey, he passed the lie detector. Hank checked everything out. All of his co-anglers said he did everything right. He got in there. Anybody else with that size boat could have got in there. I'm talking about Keith Poche and his boat. But the thing about this, Steve, you can't be mad about him fishing out of that boat in this event, because he has fished out of that boat everywhere he's went. Up in New York.
Exactly.
At Sam Rayburn, when they go to Sam Rayburn during the month, Keith's going to be in that 18-foot boat on Sam Rayburn getting beat to death. So you can't get mad for being in that boat.
And the way Keith talked to me, I think he's qualified for the Elite Series this next year. And he's already told me if he fishes that, he's committed to fishing in that aluminum boat for the whole season. And, of course, with BASS, whatever boat you start out in, you have to stay in that boat the whole season. So he's committed to that. Do what?
The same thing with the Opens, too. Once you commit to whatever boat you fish the first event in, that's what you have to fish all the Opens out of.
Yeah, and Keith's not afraid to jump in there with that particular boat, and he loves that boat. And let's be honest, it is an advantage, and we're going to get all into that. We'll get deeper into that as we continue to talk. We could talk for an hour about this if we kept talking. Also, we got some more schedules to be released. The MLF has released their tackle warehouse. I think their schedule is out, as well as the ABAU East Texas guys. We're going to announce today your open series schedule, as it is out. Chris Way, and they sent that to me, and to make sure we announce that today right here on Tackle Talk Live. First, we're going to take a short break. When we return, we're going to talk to Sam Rayburn guide Brian Branham when we come back with more Tackle Talk Live.
Toledo Health is a full-service primary and acute care clinic. Nurse practitioners Jarrett Rule and Melissa Vines bring quality health care that's needed and convenient to the area. Whether it's a stomach virus or a hook in your hand, Toledo Healthcare will try and meet all your healthcare needs. Appointments available and walk-ins are always welcome. So the next time you're feeling down at Toledo Bend, stop by Toledo Healthcare, located on Highway 6, just south of Toledo Town, or you can call 318-508-5323. For all your boating needs, check out Shreveport's newest marine dealer, The Boat Shop. Raymond Kidd and his great staff will take care of all your engine repair needs or anything else that needs fixing. A certified Yamaha Mercury dealer, they carry two of the best fishing boats on the market from Sea Arc and Camus. The Boat Shop is never short on trade-ins, as they're always willing and able to make you the best deal possible. Looking for great boat accessories? They're a full support garment and Minn Kota dealer. So the next time you're in the market for a new or used boat, or maybe you just need to service the boat you have, let the Boat Shop fix you up. To learn more, call 318-402-0399 or go to ShreveportBoatShop.com. The next time you're on I-49 just south of Natchitoches, Louisiana, stop by Cypress Knee Outdoors. A store within a store, Cypress Knee is located inside 3J's four-way. Whether you need gas, food, or drinks, they have it. While you're there, check out Cypress Knee Outdoors and pick up whatever hunting or fishing tackle you need. Top name brands like Strike King, Santone, Spro, or the #1 soft plastics made, V&M. On the hunting side, they carry guns from Mossberg, Winchester, and Remington. Plus, they've got a great supply of ammunition. Let John Abram and his staff show you everything Cypress Knee has to offer. Located just 1 mile east of 127 on I-49, or call 318-238-HUNT. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. Thank you for tuning us in. This segment presented by Toledo Health, The Boat Shop, 3J's Four-Way, home of Cypress Knee Outdoors. Thank you, John Abraham. And if you're looking to do some fall fishing or you're getting ready for hunting season, hey, they've got everything you need right there at Cypress Knee Outdoors, hunting to fishing, all the deer stands to feeders to V&M soft plastics. They got it all. So make sure you check them out. Cypress Knee Outdoors right there. Exit 127 off I-49. So we appreciate all the guys' support. On the Boat Shop hotline, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Brian Branham, Sam Rayburn guide. Brian, hey, thanks for joining us today, bud.
How y'all doing?
Doing good, Brian. Doing good. Glad to get you on. We've been trying to get you on for some time now, just never have been able to get everything lined up, but glad to have you on the show with us today.
Hey, thanks a lot. I don't remember what happened last time, but something.
Brian, let's go ahead and just jump right on into this. You know, this little cooling trend that just came through this, last couple of days. A little morning. You got those days now. It's going to be cool in the mornings and warms up into the 80s. What's going on at Sam Rayburn? Got some big events coming up over there. What are the fish doing as we speak? As there's 2 big events this weekend and one next weekend.
Well, as you maybe or probably already know, grass is the big story over here. Generally speaking, that and our low water together. Lake's nearly 5 feet low, so first thing I'd want to say is everybody be careful out there. There's a tremendous amount of people who are fishing the lake right now that have never seen it this low. Most of us have, that's been coming here for longer than 6 or 7 years, but there's just a huge amount of people that just have gotten into fishing in that amount of time, especially with the high school fishing and so forth. I can't say enough about how dangerous some areas of the lake are. But given that, again, the hydrilla is the big story. Huge amount of the fish are using the hydrilla in the lake. We have matted hydrilla up to 10 feet deep and, tapering edges even deeper than that. It can be difficult to pattern these fish because there is a lot of the grass and they are moving around in it and using it in a lot of different ways, but that will be the focus of a lot of the fishermen is the hydrilla. The other kind of pattern working and in that hydrilla, the shallow grass, we've been fishing it in the mornings, mostly with top waters, also with swim jigs, small swim baits, Texas rig worms on the edges. And for those guys who like to, flip and punch, we are having some fish caught now for the first time that I remember in probably about 7 years on just straight up punching, flipping patterns with, big weights and compact plastics, even big jigs up to, ounce and a quarter. So if you can find those fish in those big hydrilla beds, they're usually going to be wadded up and all kind of in one area. And that can really make hay for you quick in these tournaments that are coming up. The rest of the fishing in the hydrilla has been kind of spotty as far as you catching one here and one there. I mean, you have to cover a lot of water and really keep your head down and move with whatever bait you find they're biting. Like I said, I've been using a swim jig mostly with a flapping type trailer or a swim bait because it's just easy to cover that water. They don't seem to want to hit a frog for some reason, not for me anyway. The other thing that's happening out there is, of course, brush pile fishing. A lot of the brush is now shallower. You tend to find the crappie brush in this lake in 30 to 35 feet. Well, with 5 feet gone out of the lake, you're now 25 to 30 feet. So, 20 to 30, I'd say. And I've been out 5 of the last 7 days, and most of those days we get a few of the early fish, but the big story and the bigger fish is still deep brush for me. And we're throwing really large worms, mostly in the plum type colors, plum, red bug, plum apple, and so forth. And we're throwing some really big worms right now, like magnum worms of every kind, like the 12-inch zoom worm, the 9.5-inch shaky worm from 6 cents. Even been throwing that J-Mag from V&M that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 inches long. It's just a really big offering. I can't explain that, but it's been a trend. Big line, half-ounce weight, peg baits, big tackle, heavy rods, and big worms. Midday bite. We had one day with 12 fish from 11 to 1, with the big fish being 7 pounds, and the smallest fish in that group was slightly less than 3 pounds. So that can happen fast. And when you pull up on one of those piles and it's a hot pile, get ready because it's going to be fast and furious. You may hit a bunch of them without any action, but when you pull up on one that they're really moving on or landed on or whatever, it's a good bite. One last thing, there's a lot of fish on the lake chasing shad, relocating from the falling water is kind of how I look at it, moving from the shallower areas from the water, moving the fish to deeper haunts and different places that they're wanting to be. And they can land on anything during this kind of shad movement or chasing shad rather. They pull up on a ridge end or a big brush pile or something to hold during the time that they're moving and chasing these shad. So you kind of really need to keep moving, keep watching for that. It's a visual thing. You won't really see whole lot of fish schooling, but you'll see some bigger fish chasing individual shad, and fishing in those areas, just in general, finding the nearest cover and fishing that stuff is also another thing that's happening out there. So watch for big school fish that are kind of loners. This has been going on for about a month now. I think it's related to a turnover. The lake, I hate to say it, but these terms are going to catch the fishing conditions, also related to lake-wide turnover that will be obvious to a lot of fishermen, where you have brown bubbles and the lake's full of sediment and stuff like that. I try to steer clear of that type of thing when you see it. Try to find areas that you're not right in the the turnover. That'll be.
Have you seen that anywhere on the lake, Brian?
Sir?
Have you seen that anywhere on the lake, any type of turnover starting to happen?
Absolutely. Pretty much, most of my fishing is from the 147 bridge down to the dam and back up to Buck Island. I'm kind of a southern lake fisherman in general. I don't get way north anymore, not very much. So I wouldn't know about up there, but I've seen it in the Black Forest and Caney Flats, very obvious, big, long, like let's say S-shaped surface rivers, you know what it looks like, and they'll be, at first you'll just see kind of isolated brown bubbles. That's air that's percolating from the bottom, carries silt on the bubbles, the static, and it releases that silt as it rises and ends up on the top. Well, that you'll get a saturated water column with this kind of silt and sediment. You can even see it on your down scan and so forth. And fish avoid it. It gets in their gills and whatnot. And so they'll just gravitate away from it. It generally is going to have fish suspending and moving towards the top of the water, even if it's real deep. So that's what's causing a lot of these fish to chase shad in open water. They could be anywhere, and it's not everywhere. And I look for evidence of it to stay away from it primarily. I've seen it in Ash Bayou, let's just say between St. Augustine and Powell Park, which is a pretty specific area, but all up through there, I've seen these big, long, quarter-mile long surface bubbles, all where it kind of gets together in a small amount of current or wind current. Either one, current from the dam. They're running the dam every day from 1 to 4, or 1 to 5 rather, and it's not very hard. It's generation. Well, that can still cause enough current to pull all this surface sediment together, and you can see the bubbles, and you can see the turnover on your, like I said, on your down scan. So one good way to avoid that stuff, it's generally going to happen in a basin area or a creek, a large creek or drain area and drains. You're going to see it most there because the percolating bottom air picks up silt in those natural drainage areas. If you can locate hard ridge tops, big flats with hard bottoms, you won't see as much of the evidence of this turnover. So it is possible to get away from it, but it can present a difficult fishing situation for a lot of people. But the way I always address things like that is, someone will say, don't you hate fishing in the rain? Don't you hate fishing in cold weather? Don't you hate fishing in this, that, and other? Don't you hate when the lake's turning over? Well, it's my job. I'm out there every day, and more or less, on day in, day out, week to week, and all seasons, and turnover is just part of it. So you got to learn how to treat that condition, and then it's not so bad. It can actually work for you. You can get, you look to get out of it. And then when you get out of it and find a productive area that's not really in that same, not having that issue, you might find a lot more fish per acre. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just how you treat the condition. So, and I've alluded to that a little bit here.
Well, Brian, hey, that's some great information, man. I mean, for people that are coming, Brian, I guess my last question would be, if you're fishing this coming weekend, which is going to be more or less a stringer tournament, and versus the Sealy event, the following week is going to be a big bass tournament. If you were going after this weekend, would you try to get a limit early, or would you commit to punching grass? Is grass the key for a 5-fish limit this weekend, or would you go out and stay deep and go out and hit them brush piles?
You know, that question hits me pretty hard and quick. I'm not really as prepared as I would be for that. I don't know if you know this, but I haven't been competing for over 2 years. I have dedicated myself pretty much straight up guiding, but I do think about it from time to time. And I would say right now, the way I've always done things when I was competing in the latter years of my competition, when I had, you know, the better finishes and so forth, I go straight to my best fish first, no matter where they are. And I recommend that people do that now. I mean, all your fish are active at the same time of day generally. I mean, if you've got an extremely good bite in shallow water early, a whole bunch of the time you've got an extremely good bite in deep water early too. I mean, these, you know, getting a small limit early and then going and trying to call, that's just not me. You know, everybody has a different way to do things. It was me when I was younger. It was me before I got a lot of paychecks, so to speak. Now I tend to go straight to my best fish first, no matter where they are. And right now that's in deep water. I might hit a couple of stretches flipping if I really did the time. When I go punching and flipping, Steve, I use a new product called the Double Down. I actually did design it. It will be available through Gamakatsu anytime. You can see it in stores right now. But it's like a big screw lock, like a center pin from owner will work. But this Double Down holds a worm real well without putting a hook on there. And I would go pitching and looking for bites late in the practice, like in the last 2 days, and mark those bites in the grass. And if you can get some really good bites in the grass, you can call during the tournament. You don't want to stick them in.
Right.
Just tie to that screw lock and take off. And if I could get some really good bites in practice, I'd probably flip the first 30 minutes of the tournament, maybe the first hour and a half, because there's some quality fish to be caught in the exact right good sweet spots. And then I head right out there to the big water and start running big brush, big spider stumps, getting in the area of where some of these really large bass are schooling and so forth.
All right, Brian.
I go somebody wants to take the best fish first.
Somebody wants to take a trip with you, Brian. How could they get in touch with you?
They can find me online. The easiest, just brianbranhamfishing.com. My phone number, it's everywhere if you know how to spell my name, but 409-698-6075. You can also call the Tackle Addict. I'm pretty associated with them in this area, and that's the local tackle shop up here that Brian Robeson and Brandon Belt own. So the Tackle Addict, you can call them. Those 3 ways, I'd say you could get hold of me pretty easy.
All right.
Love to have you. Love to have you.
Man. All right.
Hey,
Kevin,
y'all have a great day.
Now, he's answered all my questions. No problem at all. Brian, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, man, no problem. Give me a call anytime. Anybody has a question, just give me a holler.
All right. There we go. Got it straight from the man over there at Sam Rayburn, one of the better guys at Sam Rayburn, Brian Branham. And he gave us some good, Kevin went into a lot of great detail there, especially about the lake turning over.
Brian, he broke it all down. I just give him the mic, let him break it down. He answered every question that I had that I had on paper right here. He answered the question, grass, brush. He went into it also. No question, no reason for questions for Brian.
Yep, even got lake turnover that we didn't know about. Got some information about that and what you need to look for. So, guys, if you're headed over to Rayburn, he just gave you some great information. And again, this segment probably one of our better watched segments, Kevin, when it's all said and done, because that's some good information right there.
Oh, he completely broke it down at all aspects of what's going on right now. But for me, Steve, the biggest part was hearing the turnover and where it's at. Up that Ashorm, northern part there down to Powell, it's starting to really turn over. And for me, and I'm thinking about and hoping to go fish the fall shootout next weekend. That is huge to know. Because that is areas of the lake that I do fish some, and it's really good to know that is starting to turn over. Now, like he said, out in front of Caney and stuff, it could be happening too. Kind of have to watch what's going on. You can see it very, very easy to see the bubbles coming up. So as soon as you pull into a cove, you'll know if it's turning over.
Oh, exactly. So, and we want to thank Brian for coming on with us and sharing that great information. In case they thank you enough, Brian, good job. If you're looking for a great guide on Sam Rayburn, that's the guy. That's the guy I'd want to go out with. We're going to take another quick break, and when we return, we've got the ABA East Texas division. We've got their schedule out, and a lot of guys have asked me to talk the Solo 150. Would you please give it again? A lot of interest in the Solo 150 this year, and because it's a great schedule. So we'll be right.
Schedule.
Yep, we'll be right back with more Tackle Talk Live.
Are you looking for the finest custom-built rods ever made? Then look no further than Pride Rods. Fishing rods built to last and made in Montgomery, Texas. Constructed by Mr. Billy Kistler with the finest Gary Loomis North Fork composite blanks available. They offer a complete line of both spinning and casting rods for both fresh and salt water. Pride Rods do more than pass the eye test. They excel in performance as well. Ask your local tackle dealer if they carry Pride Rods and pick one up and try it for yourself. You'll see why so many anglers are using Pride Rods. To learn more, go to priderods.com or call 832-418-6040. The next time you're headed for Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, stop by Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle. They have an awesome supply of everything you'll need to catch the big ones. Whether your trip calls for bass fishing, white perch tackle, catfish bait, or the ultimate fighting shiners, Keith's Tackle has you covered. Keith and former Elite Series pro Ben Matsubu also have the latest information on what, how, and where you need to be fishing on Sam Rayburn or the Bend. So for all your tackle needs, check out Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, located just off Highway 21 on the Texas side of Toledo Bend, or call 409-625-0181. The Lakes Insurance Agency is an independent insurance agency that has been taking care of Texans' insurance needs for over 25 years, offering auto, homeowners, boat, RV, life, health, and commercial insurance. Owner Clark Moore is a local guide and tournament angler who understands your insurance needs and wants to be your go-to guy for all your insurance needs. For a free quote, give him a call and see why so many Texans trust the Lake Insurance Agency. Located at 805 Southeast Stalling Suite 3, Nacogdoches, Texas, or call 936-205-4467. You're watching Tackle Talk Live, a show dedicated to making you a better angler. Now back to the guys with all the inside scoop, Kevin Jean and Steve Graff.
You're watching Tackle Talk Live. This segment is presented by Pride Rods, Keith's Toledo Bend Tackle, the Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches, Texas. 2 locations, one in Broadus and one in Nacogdoches. So stop by, let them know that you'd like to take a look at some of maybe their boat insurance. Maybe you need some insurance for the boat, for the camp, or for the truck you're pulling the boat with, whatever. They can help you out with Lakes Insurance of Nacogdoches. All right, Kevin, we've got Chris Wayne has just sent this out to me yesterday. It is final. The East Texas division of the Open Series. The schedule is out. Basically, February the 25th, Richland Chambers. I've never been there. Kevin, you been to Richland?
I have not. Not to fish, anyway.
Yeah, it's going out of the Oak Cove ramp. Then on March the 4th, Cedar Creek out of Log Cabin boat ramp. Then May the 13th, you guys will be on Lake Tawakoni, West Public Boat Ramp. And then on 6/17, you will be headed for Toledo Bend, Lost Frontier. Once again, we'll be hosting all the ABA events. I was there yesterday, ate lunch there. Great restaurant, great burgers, great food. Just a great place going to be for a tournament. Looking forward to going out of Lost Frontier this year, Kevin.
Yeah, no, he's doing it right. And as we mentioned last week, it's a Lost Frontier with all those boat ramps right there close.
Yeah.
Makes it a lot easier because you can just launch that. I'm thinking of 3 in my head right now, and just idle to the back of the cove. So
Yeah.
it makes easy access, having multiple ramps to be able to use.
Now, there's 3 ramps at Lost Frontier. One of them I don't think is operational. The other 2 are usable. So, and I think that's one of the things they're looking to improve. I'm hoping to get that done this winter. And so
2 public ramps right there at Keys.
Yes.
And then the public boat ramp right there at Pendleton, if you wanted to, and just run around the point.
Yeah.
And there.
I came across there yesterday, Kevin, just to give people an update what's going on at Pendleton. The boat ramp part is completely sealed off. They're actually doing the digging for the ramps and putting the slope in on the ramps. So all the water, they got a big dam right there preventing the water from getting in there. But they're really doing it right. They went out with the jetty, probably 100 yards, maybe 150 yards, kind of like they have at Cypress Bend, where you can stage in there. If that north wind's coming down the lake, it'll be protected right there. Good job by the I guess Sabine River Authority is the one putting that in. So good job by those guys. That's a much needed boat ramp on Toledo Bend right now as far as big tournaments. 300 boat tournament field can possibly go out of that ramp.
Yeah, I'm glad we're getting some more nice boat ramps on Toledo Bend to help with all the tournaments other than Cypress. It needs more nice facilities on Toledo Bend.
Yeah, and it's on the Texas side, which has not been developed until starting here recently. A lot of people finally starting to develop that Texas side of the lake, so that's good news. Also, one more time, the ABA Solo 150 Trail. And by the way, your 2-day divisional for the East Texas, which is a combination of South Texas, East Texas, your 2-day divisional will be on Toledo Bend, September 9th and 10th out of Lost Frontier Park. And right there on the Texas side of Toledo Bend. So good luck to all you guys. The Solo 150, again, people are really excited, getting a lot of emails. People are already calling ABA trying to get in. And I made the mistake of posting this on Facebook. Register now. Well, that was a mistake. They ain't ready for you. But when that registration time comes out, which will be really soon. Do what?
When is the registration date?
They haven't announced the date yet. They're getting ready to release that date pretty quick. But the ABA Solo 150 Tour, Southwest Division, it's 2 divisions, Southeast part of the country and the Southwest Division. First one, March 17th and 18th on Sam Rayburn out of Castles Boykin. Then you're going to go into April 28th and 29th out of Lake of the Pines on Lakeside Park. And then the final tournament for the Solo 150 Tournament Trail is going to be May 25th and May 26th to the 27th, Toledo Bend out of Lost Frontier Park. And so again, looking forward to that. That should be a great tournament trail. Looking for those numbers to really be up. I'm expecting 100 boat field minimum in that event, Kevin.
No, absolutely. He knocked the schedule out of the park. The dates, the times, he's going to be at each lake. I really look for him to have a really good turnout for these events.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, let's jump to the results of the BASS Central Open last week. If you want to go over those real quick.
Yeah, first place, Keith Poche with a 3-day total weight of 37.12. Stephen, I might add a little bit more than what I thought would take to win it. I was thinking more 35.
Yeah, I would. Most people were 33 to 35. I would agree.
Yeah, 30. I had 34, 35 in my head. And first place, Keith Poche, 37.12. Second place, Greg Hackney, 35.4. Third place, David Gaston, 31.1. And go on down the line. Top 10. 10th place was 23.8. Again, that's 3 days total weight for 10th place. So good. Congratulations, Keith. I mean, his family's right there from Natchitoches.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Keith.
And Kevin, talking to Keith on the phone, just one-on-one, me and him were visiting, and he did what you have to do to win a tournament like that. He caught that 3 or 4 pounder every single day, and that's what separated him from the rest of the pack, especially Hackney chasing him, with only basically a 2-pound difference there. He got the 3 big bites he needed in order to win the tournament.
No, he did. He did every day. Every day he got the bites you needed on Red River to win those events. And, hats off to him. Hats off to him is all you can say.
Real quick, we'll talk about the little bit of controversy that's going on with this event, Kevin. We kind of talked about, we don't want to beat a dead horse here, but there are a lot of people that didn't know about it. On the final day of this event, somebody had gone to a spot up the river where Keith was getting into, and they basically tried to sabotage his cut by placing rocks in the cut that wouldn't allow him to get through that cut with the aluminum boat he was using. And so a little controversy with that. It is under investigation by BASS and may know some results of that soon.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and there's a lot of guys mad about this, Steve, and a lot of the guys fishing it. I don't know the whole story. I don't know the whole story from Keith's side. I haven't talked to all the other anglers as well, but Keith was getting in with an 18-foot aluminum boat with a 90 horsepower motor on it. Granted, he has fished out of this boat all year. Every event he has fished out of that boat. So can't knock him for that. But he was getting into place, running through, and then push poling into a little pond that a normal boat couldn't get through. And a lot of competitors did not like that, did not like how it all went down. And I never thought it would have went that far for people to block that off on championship day, Steve. Keith does this for a living, as a lot of all those other guys do as well. And like I said, I'm not going to give my point of view here, on my opinion on all this. It doesn't matter, but have someone go and do that, and put rocks out so a guy can't get into his hole when a Bassmaster Classic is on the line. Let's just be honest, $50,000 is on the line.
Right.
That's pretty low. That's pretty low.
Let's make one thing clear here. Keith Poche is not the first guy to get in backwater on Red River in an aluminum boat. There's been other competitors over the years. I know Jimmy Houston had a jet drive boat, and I think BAS has eliminated jet drive boats, if I'm not mistaken. Rule came out after the Red River tournament, and Jimmy wasn't allowed to use that jet drive boat anymore.
Correct. And to be honest with you, Steve, I think there will be some rule changes from this event. No rules were broken, but I do believe there will be some rule changes going on that came from this event.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. And BASS tend to react to some of these situations. And again, it's all about a level playing field. I know that's the common goal that any organization wants their competitors to have a level playing field. So, again, Keith did break a rule. He followed the rules to the T. He passed the polygraph. He didn't do anything illegal, but he took it to the extreme, and it paid off for him. And again, we both know, just because you get in the backwater don't always mean you're going to catch them either. So, but he actually accomplished what he was trying to. He actually caught them. So, I guess you take your hat off to him. I mean, I don't know what else to do or say about that anymore. So, but we're going to drop it right now until BAS comes out with information. Maybe next week we can give you an update as to what exactly was determined on that. But in the meantime, let's jump to the 2023 MLF Tackle Warehouse Invitational Series schedule is out, Kevin. And it looks like they're going to start out in Okeechobee in February.
Lake Okeechobee, February 8th through the 10th. Perfect time to go to Okeechobee, of course. There's some interesting tournaments on this schedule. February 28th through March 2nd, Clark Hills Lake. Been a while since they.
Yep, been a while for Clark's Hill.
And on the third lake on their schedule, Steve, is a lake that, in my opinion, is starting to really blow up. This is on everybody's schedule this year. Everywhere I look is Eufaula Lake in Oklahoma. MLS invitations will go there April 14th, 16th. I know you've been there. I know you like the lake, but Steve, this thing is blowing up.
It's definitely a place that I've become very familiar with over the last 2 seasons. I've been there twice, and a great place to go catch fish. And the first time we went there, the lake rose about 4 feet in a day and a half. They had some torrential rains that really messed it up. Before that rain, I'm telling you, Kevin, it fished as good as any body water I'd ever been on. It was insane how good the bite was. And but we had a struggle in that. But last year, it was a great tournament, very competitive, great place to go fishing. And the thing I like about Eufaula, no matter which way the wind's blowing, I don't care if it's blowing 20, you can get out of the wind there and you can run in places because it's got arms in different directions. And it really, other than hitting the main area of the lake that you may have to fight through a little bit, where your fish are, maybe a long run, but at least it's good water you can run in no matter which way the wind's blowing. That's one thing I liked about it.
Well, I tell you, one thing about that lake, and I don't know who's bringing all the tournaments. I don't know if it's the Tourist Commission or who it is, but they're doing a heck of a job at their job because they are there. I know the BFL Regional is there. The regional is there for 2023. There's a lot of things going to Eufaula Lake in Oklahoma for 2023.
Yeah.
So hats off to those guys up there.
Yeah. May 4th through the 6th, Lake of the Ozarks, Osage Beach, Missouri. No stranger to tournaments. Should be a good time of year to go to Lake of the maybe spawning going, maybe some spawning fish taking place up there at that time. It's going to be borderline. Maybe there'll be some post spawn, but there may be still some fish depending on the weather.
Right.
June 17th through the 19th, Potomac River, Mayberry, Maryland. And then the final tournament, Kevin?
July 25th, 27th, Mississippi River, and right there on the cross. I think they've went there the last 3 or 4 years. That'll be their final event of the year. So,
and so good luck to all the guys that are fishing that particular tournament trail. Upcoming fall tournaments, you got the Keith Combs this coming weekend, October 1st, out of Humphrey Pavilion. Now, then next week you've got the Bass Champs Championship is actually here on Red River. Be interesting to see how those guys react to what took place on the Red River.
Steve, let me ask you this, and I've never thought about it, but can those guys fish out of aluminum boat? Can they all of a sudden change and get an aluminum boat?
I don't think Bass Champs has any restrictions on what type of boat you fish in. So I'd have to look at their rules to see that and confirm that. That may, Jared Potts may be a good guy. We might want to try to have on next week to kind of talk about,
I'll be push pulling through.
Yeah. You know how many people are going to try to get in that hole? Oh, my gosh. But anyway, Fall Sealy Shootout coming up October 8th and 9th, also on Sam Rayburn, Humphrey Pavilion. And then Bass Champs Berkeley Big Bass Open October 15th and 16th on Lake Fork. Should be a really good event there. Fish will definitely probably be the bite should be on there in mid-October there, Kevin, on Lake Fork.
Yeah, I've talked to Jason Kahn yesterday. Actually, Jason was sending me some pictures the last 2 or 3 days. They're starting to really catch them on Lake Fork again as far as numbers goes. So looking for a good October on Lake Fork.
Right. And then last but not least, October 15th, a big benefit tournament for the Northwestern State University fishing team. I don't know if Kevin will be there. I think I'm planning on being there. I may be helping with the weigh-in there. You got 4 lakes to choose from. It's a great event, great cause for a good fishing team to help those young guys out. Kevin, you've been a part of the NSU fishing team. You know the obstacles that those college guys face.
Yeah, finances. I mean, Steve, it's hard. Nowadays, the tournaments all over the country, and to really compete, you've got to travel all over the country. And it's not cheap, and it's not cheap for a college kid. There's no doubt about it. So any of this stuff help. I will be there. I'm hoping to fish, and I will be there representing V&M. We'll have a little booth set up by the weigh-in. So, it looks to be a good tournament. $10,000 first place. You can fish Cane River, you can fish Sibley Lake, you can fish Red River, you can fish Black Lake. I would imagine 70 to 80% of the people would go to Cane River.
Yeah.
But which will be very crowded. But good stringer. In October, these weights, it'll take a good stringer to win that event.
Yeah, it really will. Really will. So, Kevin, got anything else?
I think that wraps us up for the week.
All right, man. Hey, folks, we thank you for tuning us in. Check us out on our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, podcast. Our producers got us everywhere. So we're not hard to find. If you'd like to become a member of our sponsorship team, please message us on our Facebook page. And Kevin will make sure he sends out a packet, full details as to how you become a member of that particular group of people. We love having you. We thank all of our sponsors, and we appreciate each and every one of you. Kevin Jean, yours truly, Steve Graff. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week with more Tackle Talk Live.